A goateed Rob Williams, the national sports editor. It's quite a title. The national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its Offside Sports vertical, and he joins us. Is that the newsroom you're in?
That is, yeah.
Huh? Okay.
Live.
How you doing?
Live from Yaletown. Good. You
Yeah.
know, this is an unintentional goatee because this is just me being lazy, not shaving.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, I grew a playoff beard back when before I was in media, when I was just a fan, going to the games. Grew a playoff beard when the Canucks went to the final in 2011, of course. And everyone said I had a playoff goatee because it didn't grow very well.
Oh boy.
So it was sad on the sides. Sideburns were good. Goatee was good.
Mm-hmm. What is your reaction to the events of this week, Tocchet's departure, and what Rutherford had to say Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, I am surprised that, like Jim Rutherford, I'm surprised that Tocchet's gone. I thought obviously there was a chance he'd go. I think the longer it went, when it went all week last week and there was no announcement, then I thought, ooh, it's not looking as good. But ultimately, it apparently didn't come down to money, which somehow makes it worse, right? Like somehow it's like they gave him all the money in the world and still he said no. That's how bad the situation is. That Rick Tocchet didn't want to return, and I think it's a gut punch to the organization. I think it's a gut punch to, even if you thought he wasn't a great coach, he was the coach they wanted, and he said no, right? Yeah. He just dumped you. It's a really bad look on the organization, and yet another in the long list of things where it's like I can't believe in 1 year it went so far off the rails. Like I think about that photo of the 6 All-Stars that they had in Toronto on the ice. Rick Tocchet was the 7th Canucks All-Star. He's gone now too.
Have you ever hated PDO so much? Like that year was so drunk on PDO and it created too much happiness. That's the problem. PDO's to blame here.
Well, I mean, it's health too, right? Like they were so banged up last year. Obviously, the P.D. Miller thing was a major factor, but health really, really matters. And when your star players are banged up in and out of the lineup, it affects the team. And I think that was a big factor that goes into it.
So I can understand in normal circumstances around a conventional franchise how we all would be so surprised at the yearly change and decline here. But gentlemen, let's remember, I mean, Jim Benning said it best several years ago. We go day to day by this franchise. Some would say they lurch year to year, everything, all their eggs in the basket of let's just make the playoffs. Right? Let's try and take shortcuts to Stanley Cup contention. When you approach it that way without a long-term plan, vision, and strategy, this is what you get, erraticism. Some years are up, some years are going to be down. You haven't quite yet cemented the success of this team that allows you to the foundation to allow you to start, building up. Like as property developers, they should know this. They looked like they might have that in place, and then they structured Tocchet's contract with an option because the owners didn't want to pay him not to coach, and that's what triggered this reason. Rob, the bottom line: so long as Francesco is in charge, and this is the proceedings of the franchise, let's do everything we can to make the playoffs next year. Should we be expecting this sort of yo-yoing from the Canucks as opposed to the typical, line graph that you would see with hockey teams that are building towards a contender?
Yeah, I wrote a story. I looked back at it. It was from January 2024, and it was basically that Rick Tocchet's due a big raise this summer, like 2024 summer. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of what I go back to, like where they say it wasn't about money. Well, maybe it wasn't about money, but I think it was about options, right? And they let it get to this point where Tocchet had options. He doesn't need to come back to this. And my question is, why, unless they were just fooling themselves with that option year, why do you let it get to a point where you basically have a coach become a free agent? Why do you not reward him after one of the best seasons in franchise history and give him an extension? And then there's no questions about who the coach is or any of that coming down to it this season. I know it's happened maybe in a few different organizations where they've had their coach go into the last season of a contract, but like to me, there just was no reason. Like, does he turn down $5 million a year on an extension if you offer that to him last summer? I think he takes that. Like, why would you not take the extension? So to me, it's maybe they probably went a little cheap on the 2-year deal plus a club option. That you know, and the option in the end, they realized how ridiculous that option would be and how nickel and diming they'd be if they kept him to that option. So that to me, it comes down to that. Like, why didn't you sign him before the season? Why did you let it come to right now?
Does this affect-
well, especially when you weren't willing to exercise the option, so it's bloody useless to you. In fact,
it was ornamental.
Actually, I shouldn't say it's not useless. It
created noise.
It created it helped spring him out of town. Like, it was a springboard to take him out of town, right? Because I think Rob's 100% right. If he's on a long-term deal, he's back. I think even if this year is guaranteed, he's back, right? Like, if it was just a 3-year deal.
He's not quitting. I don't think he's walking away.
Might have quitted.
I doubt it.
But I would be surprised. Okay, let's ask
Rob. First off, do you think this affects ticket sales? Do you think more noise, the coach walking away, the uncertainty, and this is renewal season here? Do you think this affects what we see in the stands next year?
I think it adds to it. I think it hurts the brand, no doubt. And it's just the latest in a long line of things, right? Like, this is a bad look for the team. So potentially, I think ultimately, I mean, look how poor they couldn't have broken up with Bruce Boudreau in a worse way, and Tocchet made everyone say Bruce who within about 9 months, right? Like, so if you can put a winner on the ice, like, a lot will be forgiven.
It's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, right now it definitely hurts the brand. It's just another addition to all of those things that have happened over the last season that hurt the brand, and ultimately I think that's got to play a factor in ticket sales. I mean, and I haven't done any statistically relevant polling here, but just talking to, I feel like I've heard from more fans than ever before that are saying, like, and just not just people on Twitter, but like friends of mine, they're like, yeah, I'm not renewing my season tickets this year. And like, there's a lot of people just sort of anecdotally that I've heard that are just saying I can't do it. Like, it's the combination of how dysfunctional they were, how bad they were on home ice, missing the playoffs, and on top of all that, jacking the ticket prices up for a second year in a row.
I'm always skeptical of those threatening to cancel their season tickets on social media. A, that they have season tickets, and then secondly, that they are going to cancel. And, we've talked about it in the past. Canucks season tickets are basically conspicuous consumption in a very affluent market. We all know working people who have Canucks season tickets or half seasons or what have you. If you have to account for your Canucks season tickets in rich people, listen up here, what's called a family budget, then I think you're considering canceling.
Well, especially
but if you just have more disposable income than you know what to do, and there are a lot of people in the lower bowl for whom that applies.
But even then,
I don't
Matt,
think they bat an eyelid. I think they're back in October, hoping for the best.
Even people that are like that, I think they don't like those seats to be empty. Like, they want to make sure they're being, and they can be a hassle to have of like, we're not going tonight, but nobody wants to take. Like, you can go to any game you want, guys. There's tickets available for every game of the, save for maybe the Leafs.
But it's a status thing, Blake, for many.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Where we go. The Surrey Mitsubishi poll question: now that Rick Tocchet is gone, should the Canucks keep Elias Pettersson. There was a school of thought that's got to be one instead of the other after much clashing over the last 2+ seasons. Rob, where do you stand there?
Well, I was on the team keep him even if Tocchet came back. So I'm definitely on that train. I do think Pettersson's going to have a big bounce back year this year. I do think also, and above this, like, look, if you could get a great trade for him, yeah, pull the trigger. Why not? Like, he could probably use a change of scenery. I just don't think that the value you're going to get for him right now is going to be very good at all. I think you're trading him at an absolute rock bottom price right now, and I don't think that's the way to go. And I think that kind of lowers the potential of your team, because I think the best way, their best chance at a Stanley Cup is PD figures it out. So I'm still on board that train. I do think also the silver lining in this is, what if Tocchet was just not the right coach for Pettersson, for better or for worse? Sometimes that happens, right? Kuzmenko was a disaster under Tocchet. He was a disaster under Ryan Huska in Calgary, and he's flourished in LA. So sometimes that happens. Maybe he just wasn't the right voice to get through to PD. I think more than likely it's also just having a good summer, coming back stronger and refreshed, and I think that he's going to be better. So yeah, so for me, you hang on to PD unless you get fair market value based on what I think he can be, and I think he will go back to being a bona fide top line center next season.
Okay, this is the portion of the show where we have a debate, and Rob Williams may have to referee, as a good national sports editor might do.
Over what?
Blake Price is of the opinion that if the Whitecaps, huge winners last night in Miami, are hosting the CONCACAF Champions Cup game on June 1st at BC Place, and we'll know that tonight with the two Mexican sides, Cruz Azul and Tigres, playing this evening. You want to draw in this game. Don't ask me why, but you want to draw in this game for the Caps to get hosting duties for this game. Blake thinks they can sell out BC Place to the Messi level at 53,000.
Not in 12 minutes like they did for Messi, but over the course of the next 4 weeks, yes.
Okay, they do have a good runway to this game. I will concede that. But season ticket holders have to opt in on this game. And for me, 53,000 was not driven by the Whitecaps or the stakes of the match. It was driven almost entirely by Lionel Messi, maybe soccer's GOAT. People were there to see Messi, not necessarily the match. They just happened to get treated to a fantastic match from the home team, and so you had your storybook. I think they could certainly do the lower bowl. I can certainly see 30,000 plus, the sorts of playoff crowds we have seen from the Caps in the last 2 years. But Rob, you spend a lot of time looking at attendance and ticket demand and things like that. Where do you think the Caps could get to in terms of this CONCACAF Champions Cup if it happens at BC Place?
Let me first say I'm so excited by the Vancouver Whitecaps right now. It's like, this is not just a lucky run through the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Like, they are the best. They are the class of MLS. Like, they've been outstanding. They've been fun to watch. They've ticked every single box, and I hope people come out to support this team. Like, this is just, I was at the Messi match at BC Place. I came home, I was wired, I had trouble getting to sleep. It was such an exciting moment for the franchise. One Soccer finally got my money. I signed up. I watched the match last night. It pained me. I hate signing up for all these other streaming services. My one concern is, if you weren't at BC Place for the Messi match, if you didn't sign up for One Soccer, you're hearing about the buzz of the Whitecaps, but you haven't watched it. You're not watching on TV. So I wonder, like, how much that hurts attendance for this match if it is at BC Place. Can they sell it out? I think it's possible. I think they would get a very good crowd. I don't know if they fully sell it out. I think they get over 40,000. Definitely a sellout of the lower bowl. Every Whitecaps fan that's in town is absolutely going to that match. So I don't think you have to worry about season ticket members bucking up. I think they all would. I think it would be tough to sell out BC Place. I hope I'm wrong, but they should sell out BC Place because this is the biggest match in franchise history, certainly since they've entered MLS, and it could be the biggest win in over 40 years.
May I have the floor now?
Some King Solomon wisdom there from Rob. I went 30 plus, you went 50 plus. He took us right down the middle at 40.
May I have the floor now?
Oh, the honorable gentleman from North Vancouver would like
Price
to
is
speak
right,
here,
coming
Rob.
up.
Not to repeat myself here, but do you remember that Messi came here or was supposed to come here once before? Mm-hmm. And Vancouver Whitecaps and sports fans around the Lower Mainland bought up tickets in a matter of seconds and sold it out. They were scorned. There was a class action lawsuit talked about. They were absolutely enraged. One more chance to face Inter Miami. Burned by the first time, happily buy in, not knowing if he's going to even show up that time. I was on local news outlets talking about it. Do you think he's actually going to play? Mm-hmm. People paid money for maybe the possibility, the chance, perhaps, to see Messi. That's how quickly they were. And they still filled it up. You got way more time to sell it out here. Mm. The last time that a Canadian team was in this Champions Cup final was 2015. The Montreal Impact, a team that won 15 of 34 MLS games that season. A good team, but not the kind of pace that the Whitecaps are on. They put 61,000 people into the Big O at Olympic Stadium. 61.
Who is the opponent?
Club America. Exact same comparison.
The honorable member from North Vancouver now cedes his time, drops his mic. Rob, you're free to do the same. We'll catch up next week, my friend.
That sounds great.
That was it? It was just a statement, right? Like you didn't need Rob to respond to anything?
Mic drop.
Rob, thank you for standing by. We pay you good money to listen to Lake Press.